Take care of your tender soul. Your soul is the most beautiful part of you. Unknown author.
Welcome to Living at Your Finest podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Babs. I'm a triple board certified family, obesity, and lifestyle medicine physician, and I am the founder of Living at Your Finest Wellness, a holistic direct primary care practice. Did you know that 80% of lifestyle related chronic diseases within our communities are preventable, with poor diet being the primary culprit? Now, contrary to what we thought, that it was our unfortunate genes, the good news is that we can make changes together to improve our health and quality of life. So that's what this podcast is all about. The Living at Your Finest podcast is devoted to helping families to live at their finest well-being using a holistic approach with a healthy lifestyle to nourish and flourish as a whole, vibrant, and healthy champion. So join me and my guests as we share transformational and sustainable skill sets from our health and wellness journey to support you and your families in achieving optimal well-being. Ready to live at your finest? Well, let's get to it.
Hello, everyone. Greetings to you all, health champions. Welcome back to the Living at Your Finest podcast show. Thank you once again for showing up. It's always a delight to hang out with you all, listeners, the new and not so new. I hope all is well. I am excited for this episode because I'm going to be learning so much. Oh my goodness. I'm honored to have a wonderful friend as a guest speaker on our podcast today. Yes, we're going to be talking about just soul care. Have any one of you heard about soul care? I love that, with my wonderful guests, really passionate about just whole person care, self care, soul care. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Then the title is Soul Care and Sacred Space, aligning your inner life with the space you live in. So it's going to be focused on those different topics. And, without further ado, I want to introduce Coach Michal Spiegelman. She's an author of Becoming Soulful, Six Keys for Perform Transformation. She's a Reiki master, spiritual mentor, and social worker, and goes without saying, certified professional life coach. I mean, we are in midst of brilliance, so I can't wait to learn all that she has to share. She's the founder of Beacons of Change and a period for transformation, a proven path for reconnecting with your inner resources, awakening the wisdom of your soul, and leaning to rely on your own inner guidance. We all need that. So without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to Coach Michal Spiegelman to the Living at Your Finest podcast show.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dolapo. I'm happy to be here, especially after such a beautiful introduction. Yes, beautiful. I'm
Yeah.
happy to be here and talk about soul care and soulfulness and anything else that will emerge.
Of course, of course. I've been looking forward to this, and I know that our listeners will gain a wealth of knowledge, but not just knowledge, but practical tips to incorporate. So I like to start off by just finding about the background, the story behind you being this wealth of knowledge, right? Can you share where it all began, and would like to dive into that a little bit?
Yeah, so over 30 years ago, I became a social worker. I was a traditional social worker, always loved to help people. But it was pretty quickly after working as a social worker for a few years that I realized that I feel limited and I feel like I don't have enough tools. And at first, I didn't really know that what I was looking for or searching was a more holistic approach. You know, I finished school, I had the tools from school. I carry a lot of trauma myself from losing six of my eight pregnancies in the 6 or 7 months. So 10 years of being bed resting or in the hospital. So I carried a lot of trauma. I had the skills from school, but I realized that talk therapy is not enough. First, I learned it about myself, but then I also learned it, working with other people and just seeing that I really had this strong intuition and desire to expand my approach, to expand my tools. So over the last 30 years, I evolved from a traditional social worker to a holistic transformational expert and a mentor of many women. And in my tool bag, I have lots of certifications and courses for meditation and Reiki. And I learned color healing in England, and aromatherapy and reflexology, and trauma informed modalities. And I think what started as a traditional social worker evolved into a very holistic approach. I say it in my book, Becoming Soulful, that talk therapy is not enough and we need to expand our view. And I know that you know it more than anybody else, that yeah, you've done it yourself. You're living that.
Yes, yes. Oh, goodness. Thank you for sharing all of that. And I just want to shout out social workers. You guys are amazing. I remember before I opened up my own practice, when I was working at Grady, social workers are just amazing people. You have a heart to help, and it's not just the doctors or the nurses, it's the extension of the care, true social workers. So thank you for doing what you do, but also expanding to where you are
Mm-hmm.
now in a holistic. And that's why I was really excited about this episode, because we both believe in a holistic approach, right? And you did that through finding what else you can put in your bag tool, right? Your bag to help, your clients, but starting from you, right? You healed. And talk therapy, it's good to know that, if there are patients or clients that is not sufficient enough, there's a reason why.
Yeah.
What else? What are the multidisciplinary approach? So I want us to shift gears, and just I want to know the difference, if you don't mind sharing. What is
Mm-hmm.
self-care? Because I always talk about self-care. I learned the hard way
Right.
that I need to care for myself. But what is soul care? Can you give us the
Right.
difference, please,
Yes,
and how that
absolutely.
applies?
And in my book, Becoming Soulful, if it's okay, I just want to read
Yes,
something from the
of
book
course.
about the difference between soul care and
Yes.
self care. And so, just maybe one or two paragraphs here. So, as we peel back the layers of routine self care, we often uncover spaces within us that remain unfilled, untouched by the typical wellness routines. Self care refers to the practices and activities we engage in regularly to reduce stress and maintain and enhance our short and long term health and well being. Soul care digs into the core of one's being, embracing activities and practices that resonates with our deepest values, beliefs, and sense of purpose. The sense of purpose is really important, fostering a profound connection with our authentic self. So, in other words, self-care keeps us well functioning, while soul
Mhm.
care makes our lives deeply meaningful. And I
Mm.
tell you where was a really meaningful time before I wrote this book that was released like almost 2 years ago, when I really understood the difference. It was actually in the middle of the pandemic, because during the pandemic I lived in New York. I supported many people also through my online programs and coaching, and so many people suffered. I supported many people, and I was really grateful that I can support so many people. I got to a point when it was like too much for me, too much for my body, and I had to. It was overwhelming, and I had to take a break. And I remember like deciding, it wasn't an easy decision, to take a break for like 2 weeks and really restart my system and everything. And I did all the self-care practices and
Uh-huh.
rested, and and walk in nature and meditation and all that. And even when I was restful enough, something inside me was not well. Like I felt empty, I felt like dry or flat inside. And then through a series of inner journeys and really walking my talk and doing a lot of inner work, the clarity that I got was that my soul was really longing for for a deeper connection with purpose and with what matters the most. I had to reconnect with my calling and my purpose, and maybe rise above the exhaustion and fatigue of helping so many people. And one of the practices that I started to add to my day since then was intentional movement with music. Now, I already had a solid practice of meditation and treating myself with Reiki every day. And it was a surprise when it came from my soul, really, journey. And later to realize that there was something about the movement that was intentional, combined with the music, that was exactly what my soul was needed to release, to clear some of the pain and the burden that I carried from helping so many people. So that's an example for how
Yeah.
my soul communicated to me my needs.
Yes, 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 yes. Wow, that is very profound. And so, what I'm hearing you say is self-care. Yes, that's the day-to-day, all the things that we do. You know, we have to fill our own cup and all of that, and being intentional about it. But soul-care is more going in depth, right? Really understanding the inner core. And I know that that sounds like more like, I practice lifestyle medicine, which is evidence-based modality where you use behaviors and habits to prevent and reverse chronic lifestyle related diseases. So it's evidence based. And I know that one of the pillars is social connection. So, but I'm hearing that that social connection is good because it's tied to longevity, but more so the soul care is sitting within and understanding
Right.
what our purpose driven, and that needs to be filled for you to completely, right, not have the emptiness
Yes.
that you might say.
Right.
So
It's
that's what I'm
both
hearing
really.
here.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
different types of connections. And actually
Yes.
in my book, Becoming Soulful, I share 6 keys for profound transformation that each one of those keys is a key to
Yes.
inner connection. So yes,
Yes.
social connection is important as well as connection to spirituality, to soul, to something
Yeah.
bigger than us. But it's really the inner connection, like connecting to ourselves
Yes.
and like in the deepest, like our soul, the way I see our soul is the wisest, deepest space inside us, the pure
Yes.
essence of who we are. And I think that especially in today's world with all the noise around it and artificial intelligence and everything, there's so much noise. Now, we all know that we need to quiet the noise and go inwardly, but I think that soul care go beyond
Yeah.
simply quieting the noise and really deepening the connection. What are you so
Yes.
longing for?
Yeah.
What are your soul really need? Not what mentally you know, what your mind is telling you that you need, and then you just follow the checklist that you have.
Mm-hmm.
What's a deeper longing
What
of
is the
your
deeper
soul?
longing?
Yeah.
Yes, I hear that. And congratulations on your book. I remember when I met with you, I just love the beauty of the book and just what it represents.
Thank
So
you.
thank you so much for writing that and doing the work. So I have a question tailored around what that looks like. I mean, definitely I want to know about what the external environment. It's very noisy. And sometimes, I know even personally, as much as I love the self-care piece, and I do, I'm a faith-based person, so I do take time to be quiet, but I get distracted easily. My mind is all over the
Right.
place. I start
Right.
off really good, and then before I know it, I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about that, and I have to bring myself back in. So do you
Right.
have some tips in how that environment, how do we explore our environment to
Right.
really get into that soul part? What are some of your
Right.
best practices that you can share with
Right.
us?
Yes. So yes, in the book I share different practices like soul dialogue and soul journaling. But I want to just give an example. Last night, like every Tuesday, I have a space for women. It's called the Soul Guided Sanctuary. When I'm there every Tuesday, and whoever wants to join joins. It's like a membership program. And every Tuesday we have the same rhythm that I take the members of the sanctuary through. And I think this rhythm that we do every Tuesday is really a reflection of that soul care rhythm, the way I see it. So
Okay.
first, there's always like I share some wisdom or some lesson, or I bring some idea. So let's say that you have an intention in mind, and then the second thing that I do is take them through an inner journey, a practice of going within. But it's not let's sit quiet now and just breathe or meditate, which I do in my daily life. Every morning I
Yes.
meditate, but no, it's a space where actually we come together in a process of uh, going from our mind to our body to our heart and to our soul. Like it's impossible or really hard. I shouldn't say it's impossible, really hard in today's world to just ask yourself to close your eyes and go in and connect to your soul. So, a process that I developed for my second book, the one I'm writing now, Guided from Within, is a process when first you really get present with whatever is in your mind. Then you notice the sensations in your body. Then you become present with the emotions in your heart. And only then, after you go through the mind, the body, and the heart, then you deepen the connection to your soul, this, pure essence of who you are inside you. And then you ask a question, like even something like, what wisdom do you have for me today? Or it can be just wisdom on a specific question. That's the soul dialogue. You don't just close your eyes and say, okay, I'm dialoguing with my soul. There is a process that I developed. And I see every Tuesday when I take women through this process, and also with all my private clients, that there's something about the process that really takes you step by step. It's very organic and it's very flowing, but there is a philosophy behind it. And when you get to this connection with your soul, just the fact that you're deepening your connection, then soul dialogue happens and your soul is communicating with you. You're just listening and you're receiving some guidance or clarity. And then last night, for example, after we were done with the practice, then everybody did soul journaling. And soul
Okay.
journaling is not only writing like words or sentences, whatever came up, is really letting your soul speak the way she
Okay.
wants to speak. So it can be symbols or words or colors. But this process of going from mind to body to heart to soul and then soul journal, just let it all on paper.
Right.
That's one of the processes really that I developed that really help people
Yeah.
get to soul dialogue and to soul journaling.
Thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode. My goal on this podcast is to empower, educate, and encourage you to take actionable steps to triumph at living at your finest, body, mind, and spirit. Of note, the information provided here is for educational purposes only and does not substitute as medical advice. Please discuss your healthcare needs with your licensed medical professional. If you are in need of a compassionate and comprehensive holistic physician or know someone who is, please reach out through my website, livewellness.com, for a meet and greet. It will be my honor to talk to you. Are we connected on social media yet? I share more in-depth content on best practices to ensure that you live at your finest daily. So please join me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Living at Your Finest Wellness, where we can learn together and stay connected. Lastly, please subscribe to iTunes if you have not done so already, and share the podcast within your circle of influence. An extra step? Leave a review and let me know what topics or discussions you would like to hear more of. Thanks in advance. It is always a thing of joy to hear from you. Now, let's get back to today's episode.
Very good. Yeah, I've not heard about soul journaling, but that's great. I love to journal. I've heard of gratitude journaling and different forms, but the soul journaling is definitely very deep. So
Mhm.
that is great. Very good that you have the session. How long does that session usually last? Is this like
It's just
30
an
minutes, an
hour.
hour? Okay, it's an
It's an
hour.
hour. It's just an
Okay.
hour and just a space. After my book was published almost 2 years ago, a year and a half, I should say, ago, then it was really my desire to find a way to express or to create a sacred
Mhm.
space for women where they can go through the processes in the book, and
Yes.
it's not like a book on a shelf. So then I'm so honored that I can be there.
Yeah.
It's a lot of commitment for me because every Tuesday I'm there, and then the motto is like, come when your soul says yes. So it's different women at different times, but I just
Yeah.
love that I can
Yeah.
guide through the practices.
Yes, absolutely. And you make it practical to your point that it's
Yeah,
not just, okay, you write the book, but you
yeah,
said it. How do we make it? How do we put it into action?
yeah. I'm
Right.
very
So,
practical in my
yeah,
coaching, in my
that's
mentoring. I'm
very
very
good.
practical.
Awesome. All right. So in terms of the environment, I like the how
Hmm.
you have it tailored. Are there any other suggestions if someone is listening right now and they're saying, you know what, this sounds great. I really need this. I really want this. What will be some first steps if, especially if it's someone that has no idea where to begin, where,
Right.
even self-care, they feel like they don't even know where to begin. How would you advise for them to
Right.
proceed?
So, I heard in one of your podcasts that you were talking about, I think it was diabetes maybe, but you were talking about 80% of chronic diseases are preventable. And I,
Yes,
and, and I thought about it, after I listened to you, because really, if there's so many ways that we can prevent, chronic diseases, but also um, uh, improve
yes,
our well-being, even people that already suffer from autoimmune conditions or chronic
mhm,
conditions. And I believe that one of the ways to do it is by caring for our soul, like
yeah,
the way that I described it. But another way is also creating a sacred space around us. So you were talking about social connection. I spoke a little bit about inner connection, but I want to bring in also the environment, the space.
yeah.
There is a blog that I wrote. It's on my website, beaconsofchange.com. If anybody would like to read the blog, it's called "There's No Place Like Home."
Mhm.
And in this blog, I shared that I moved. I actually lived in 14. I think now it's 15 different homes. So I moved a lot since the day I was born. And with the years and moving countries and homes, I
Oh,
realized that our home tells a story.
mm,
And when you want to improve your well-being, yes, all the inner connection is important, and of course to take care of our body. But look around you and ask yourself what story your space tells now. Even like right now, when we're in this conversation, we see each other on the screen. Then
yes,
what you have in your background and what I
mm,
have in my background, that's a
yes,
story. We tell a
yes.
story.
Mhm.
And I encourage people to even to start small, to find a space in their home when they create a sacred space that when they look at this space, they know it's a reflection of their values, of their attributes, of their life story. And even when people tell me, but my house is so chaotic and I have a small apartment and I don't have space, I say to them, take one shelf, take half a shelf, look at the space you live in, take
Mhm.
half a shelf now and say, what matters the most for me right now? How can I reflect that in the space that I create now on this shelf? And even if it means that the whole house is chaotic, but you choose a color that you like and you get a candle in this color and you put it on the shelf, and maybe a little poem or an object, a gift that you got some one time, it has a meaning for you, maybe a flower. So when you go to your home, you can make this soul connection
Yeah.
with a piece in your house, and you can say, maybe my whole home doesn't take my story, doesn't tell my story now, but I have this shelf, I have
Yeah.
this corner. So
Okay.
then when we combine all of it together, what you said about the social connection and then an inner connection,
Mhm.
and also a soulful connection with the space, and maybe I will add to it also a connection with your body, because the
Mhm.
wisdom of your body,
Oh my
that's
God.
really, really important.
Right.
Because our bodies will communicate with us, and
Yeah.
especially when it comes to well-being. So all those different types of connections,
Mhm.
start with one. Like, pick
Yes.
up one area from what we discussed so far. Maybe it's a social connection, maybe it's an inner connection, maybe you start by taking a journal and say, dear soul, just speak, like, or
I
maybe
love that.
you choose to like make one corner in your house um, a reflection of your soul. Start
Mhm.
with one small step
Yeah.
and create this connection that your soul is longing for.
Yeah, I love it. Oh my goodness, I'm getting goosebumps. Thank you for sharing that. That is so powerful. It starts slow, starts simple, but just get started. And I love that you said, and I've heard it before. I was, yeah, yeah, we make all these excuses and they might be valid, but find a way to at least get started. If that, if it's a shelf.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really big on making my space represent what I'm thinking and my thoughts. So I have a lot
Mm.
of inspirational quotes. I have like, even at the practice, I have something that says a patient had seen it. It's never too late. It's never too early to be the
Mm-hmm.
healthiest you. So things like
Yes.
that, because it
Mm-hmm.
reminds me of my own wellness journey. And I remember seeing your background. I'm just taken by just having a story about where you are and where you're coming from. So I like that. I like that. Thank you so much for sharing in depth. I think that's very important for all of us to understand that and to search our soul. And I what I like, and I'm gonna try that tonight, is just speak. Let me hear. I'm
Yeah.
listening.
Yeah. Right.
I definitely
Exactly.
want to explore that today because a lot of times we do the talk, 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 and we are not receptive to listen. So these are really great tips that you mentioned. Thank you very, very much. So yeah, we are going to go ahead. I don't know if there was anything else you wanted to add to that, but we want to learn more about who you are as an individual
Okay.
and how you live at your finest well-being. So if you're ready, we'll get started.
Sure.
Awesome. Well, let's do it. So, you know that the name of the podcast rather, is Living at Your Finest. So, want to know what are some of the things that you do? Maybe if you had to count, mention the first thing on top of your list that helps you feel like you're living at your finest well-being, what would that be?
So I'll go back to what I said about intentional movement with music that I actually do at the end of the day, because I think that many people, like me, for example, have a solid morning routine. I know many people in my community that they meditate, they treat themselves with Reiki, but I want to actually bring attention to that the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I think one of my biggest way how I'm living at my finest is that at the
Mhm.
end of the day, I take some time intentionally to clear the energy that I carry in my body
Mm.
by doing either my favorite way is just like one song I play. I have a playlist with songs that I love and just intentional movement when I move my body. But
Mhm.
anything else that feels really comforting to do at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Sometimes I will use Palo Santo and just, clear my space. Sometimes it will be just like to sit quietly at the end of the day and allow myself some transition time before the end of the day and then transitioning into my night.
Awesome. Transition time. That's something
Yes,
a lot of us are guilty of. And sometimes we transition into even like social media and reels and
right.
scrolling. So there's no real transition. So yes,
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you. Oh, I love when it comes to music as well. I love music but doing it in such a way that it's calming and ease and allowing one to be reflective. And you said something that was key, removing what the energy that you've carried, right? Because now
Yeah.
it's time to
Clearing.
transition. So very
Yes.
good. I like that. Very good. Well, I am curious, what is your favorite quote? Do you have a favorite affirmation, a quote? Is that part of your routine? Would like to know about that. If there was something that you say that you used
Yeah,
to say.
so, oh, yeah, there are so many. Actually, because I practice Reiki and I also teach Reiki for many years, there is an affirmation that I always teach in my classes. I am healed, I am whole, I am complete. So
I
that's
love it.
something that I say at the end of my practice every morning. I am healed, I
Healed,
am
I am
whole,
whole, I am
I am
complete.
complete.
I love
Yes.
it. Yes, that's beautiful. I love to say vibrant, whole, and healthy. So those are great
Yeah.
things. I feel like it
Yes.
encompasses the soul and all of that. Well, I
Yeah.
have one last question for you. So you've lived in 15 different homes,
Yes,
is that
homes.
what you
Yes.
said? Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. You must be well learned. You must have, my mom used to say that traveling or moving around gives you a lot of education, so you'll learn a lot, right?
Yes.
But my question to you is, what is one thing that only the closest people to you, if you're okay revealing
Yeah,
that,
sure.
something that we don't know about you? I mean, we already know that you've lived in 15 places, you do
Hmm.
Reiki, you're you have all this certification, but what is something the majority of people don't know about you?
I don't know. There are two things that come to mind. The first one that comes to mind, maybe it's a little funny. The first word that came to mind was that I'm human.
That you're
Because
human. I love
that
it.
I'm human because I teach all the time and I coach
Yeah.
my clients and everything and sometimes I get like feedback from people that say something like I want to be like you and you're my inspiration, and then the next day I can freak out about something or get crazy or get so anxious about something and like be imperfect. And then sometimes my husband will say to me something like, "Oh, I wish your clients will see you right now." And I'm not trying to hide it, but
Yes,
I'm
I understand
human.
that.
I'm a real
Yeah.
person like everybody else. And while people, especially people from my community that always look up for me, and I'm like, no, I just and when I share it and I say, "Wow, I had this anxiety attack," and people are looking at me, "What? You?" It's so. I think that I'm human, and then maybe the other thing is that I'm a pianist. I'm a social worker, but also a music teacher in my background. And
Wow.
for 15 years, I was an art director producing
Fantastic.
musicals. So I have this whole music piece to me that I think my
Nice. I
community
can see that
did.
though. I can see that. I can see that. I can see it. It's all over you. I can see it.
Yeah.
I can picture that. But yes,
Yeah. Oh.
absolutely. I tell my patients, I'm a human being. I'm with you in this.
Mhm.
We're in this together. It's not just me staying here and telling you all of this.
Yes, I'm human. I'm
I'm
just like
human
you.
as well. I find it difficult where people feel like, we're all human beings. We're all in this same together. It's just that some people have, they learned the skills, and
Hmm.
every day you're learning every day. It's,
Yeah.
it never arrived, right? It's a
Right.
constant being intentional every day. So yeah, thank
Yes.
you so much for sharing all of that. I want to give you an opportunity to please share how our listeners can be in touch with you.
Hmm.
How I'm definitely going to put it in the show arts, but I would like for you
Yeah.
to tell us if there's any projects coming up, like I think you said about the
Oh.
book coming up. So
Oh
please
yes, the
let
book.
us
Yes,
know.
definitely. I'm committed to finish writing the book by the end of June, so it will come out in the
Nice.
beginning of 2027. But
Oh,
really, I'm very passionate about taking women through inner journeys and helping them to heal really deeply. Just send me an email to info@beaconsofchange.com. My website is beaconsofchange.com, and if you want, you can look up Amazon Becoming Soulful, Michal Spiegelman, and get the first book. But just send me an email, and then I will be happy to just schedule like a 15-minute conversation, no commitment, and to see how can I support you. So that's the best way.
awesome. Well, thank you so much again. It was a pleasure having you and just learning about you and all the great things that you've shared with us. Truly feel honored. Thank you so much, Coach
Thank you.
Spiegelman, for being with
Yes,
me.
thank you. I'm honored.
Yes, and to our listeners, thank you for staying to the very end. I hope you've been impacted just as I have. It's been amazing. We need to learn about self-care, yes, but even deeper, the soul care. We need to take that time. Coach Springerman has shared some practical tips. Just one thing, space. You've heard with your ears. Now it's the action part. So please share this episode with others within your circle of influence. We need to be healthier together, right? So I hope that you have benefited and you will share some of this information with us and how you've applied it. So until next episode, remember that you deserve to live at your finest because you are worth it. Thanks again. Take care. God bless.